What is up, people? Matthew Wells here. Alongside me is Drake Riggs. We have some controversial news to talk about here in the world of MMA. The UFC and ESPN are raising their prices for ESPN Plus and the price of the pay-per-views. Yet again, it's not the first time the prices have been increased, but this time it's happening to kick off 2021. And naturally, since there's no fans in the stands for a Conor McGregor fight, the UFC has figured out a way to get more money out of people to kind of offset the loss of a gate. And here we are with a higher price point for pay-per-views to kick off 2021. Drake, how do you feel about having to shell out more money to watch your favorite sport in the world?
It's kind of sad. But, I mean, it's a smart move by them. We're gonna keep watching, right? We are, of course. I don't know the average fan or the casual fan. Of course, the casual in particular will check out the first fight that they'll be doing it for, and then that's how they get that sweet subscription going. So it's very, very smart considering what's starting out the new year and everything. But as a longtime follower and somebody who will continue to watch no matter what, it's like, damn, like it hurts a little bit, but especially in these times, where everybody's hurting and everything, sucks a little bit extra, I would imagine, for most. So, it is what it is. I guess it's probably gonna continue. I don't know, why wouldn't it, right? Unless it gets super crazy, but we'll see what the future holds. But not surprised. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised either. Not surprised at all. Especially, I had been saying this for months on the videos on this channel. They're going to figure out a way to get more money for this Conor McGregor fight whenever it happens, because we know he's got to fight soon, and we know he's going to fight with no crowd. So how are they going to do it? I was saying that they were going to raise the price of just that particular pay-per-view. Maybe they heard me and were like, hey, you know what? Let's just do the whole thing across the board. Charge more for everything.
So blame Matt, everybody.
Yeah, blame me, I guess. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone. And we're talking about here, a $5 increase. It was $64, but when ESPN Plus first launched, it was $59. So we're looking at a total of $10 increase since the inception of ESPN Plus model for paying for pay-per-views. And, like we said as well, you have the subscription cost on top of that, which is increasing. And that part isn't as surprising to me, because when you look at all streaming services across the board, they all are always raising their prices. Like Netflix is always raising their prices. New streaming services are coming out all the time, and their prices are ridiculous. It kind of makes you long for the days of just having a basic cable package again. But, and it's neither here nor there. But be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Drake, what is the price point that will push you away from buying pay-per-views? What is the breaking point for your wallet, sir?
That is a great question. Boy, let's see. For pay-per-view and subscription, let's just go with pay-per-view for starting things off. Probably like 80 seems like a lot. This is already, we're getting close to that, but just considering how, if you look at the grand scheme of the UFC kind of, and I don't want to say lack of quality, at least this year or whatever, but just the direction we see things have been going with the cuts and how many, up and comers they're bringing in, and, filling out these cards, which on paper aren't what they used to be, I guess, at least for me in terms of interest. And just this year has been one where I've noticed my interest, drop a little bit significantly. I don't know if that is because of, what the exact source is for that. There's been a lot that has gone on in the last year, of course. But for me personally, like, I just found myself struggling to get as excited for UFC events. Those were the main ones going on. I think it was just a matter of life and everything. And so if I continue to feel that way, which I've gotten more excited recently and everything, I think we're getting back to, hopefully the old ways. But 80, 85, definitely 100 is a little bit crazy. Let's not go there. And especially when you consider, like, let's just take the next fight, for example, this next card. And usually most Conor cards or John Jones cards, they're all, and somebody as an avid follower, a hardcore fan, everything, those cards are never stacked cards. They always bank on the headliner because that's what works, right? The headliner, it's a myth that stacked cards draw. That is not the case. It is always what is at the top of the card. And they know that because they always water the shit down out of Conor and Jones cards, and it still pulls the best numbers because they're the biggest draws, not all these amazing matchups. That's what we want, who are not just casuals. We're like, that's okay, that's great. But that doesn't really matter in terms of what we're talking about right here. So for me, yeah, the price, if it gets a little bit too outrageous here within 10-15 increase, I'm gonna go to the bar when they open up again. Like that's gonna be the end result. So
Yeah, 100%, man. It's gonna push. I think it's gonna push a good amount of people away already. Just with the $5 increase here, some people are gonna be like, you know what? For $5 more, I'm just gonna find another method of watching, to put it that way. But I will just say this. I think it's kind of crazy. And I know that they have financial goals that they have to hit and all that kind of things, like all those sort of things behind the scenes. They have these targets that they're aiming for. But it seems a little ridiculous to raise the prices during the middle of a pandemic when Americans in particular, the ones who are always shelling out money for these pay-per-views, are struggling. And we're sitting here trying to get our government to give us stimulus checks. They passed.
yeah, no kidding.
They just gave us another $600 when, that was the first time money had gotten back to the American public since March. And that was $1,200 then. So $1,800 for a whole year from the government when a lot of people are still unemployed. A lot of people are struggling, to pay their bills and keep the lights on and stay from getting evicted. And UFC and ESPN are like, you know what? You got to pay more money for our pay-per-views now. And it just seems like very, very ill-timed to do that. I would think once things get back to normal, maybe once you have crowds in the arena again and people can, travel freely again and stuff like that. Okay, then, because that signifies to me that, hey, life is getting back to normal a little bit, And yeah, people will still be hurting financially, especially, for people that worked or own small businesses and, don't have those opportunities that they used to have. So it seems a little crazy to raise the price during the middle of a global pandemic, but I don't know if that's just me, but that's my take on that.
No, you're totally right, man. That's definitely one of the bigger things. And, a lot of people, still haven't even gotten the first stimulus check, right? At least from, people I know and everything. Like that sucks. That really sucks. And just it's just a crazy thing, right? To keep. I mean, look at the media video. That's all you need to look at. I know that we've touched on that on this channel already, but they don't really care, right? About, as long as it's going to continue to get people, they're going to do what they need to do. What is best for business if they can make an increase and, salvage what they're missing with the live gate and everything. They're going to find a way. And this is a step in that direction. So it's what's best for business, I guess, as they say.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I guess we'll figure out whatever number actually gets reported after this event. And to your point, earlier, the main event is what sells these things. And Conor McGregor as historically has shown that he's going to bring in a lot of pay-per-view buys, but this fight is a little bit different in that regard because it's someone he's already faced and beaten, albeit at a lower weight class. It's someone he's already beaten, and this isn't for a title yet.
Yeah.
So yet it very well could end up being for at least the interim title, if not the full title, here in a couple of days as they continue to sort through that mess and figure out what's going on with Habib. But it's kind of crazy, man, for all of those reasons that we've talked about, and also not to mention one other thing that this global pandemic has affected is the amount of canceled fights. So if you're looking at buying a pay-per-view card, and then, hey, a week out, a fight or two that you were really looking forward to on the main card gets canceled due to COVID. How are you going to expect people to pay the same amount? It's wild to me, but as long as the main event stays intact, I guess they can get away with it.
Yeah. Very true, man. Very true. We'll see we'll see how things go, right? And I guess it's important to note also, the fact that this first card, at least, if my memory is serving me correctly, it's just going to be the first card as of right now will be on ABC, right? It's going to be on TV again. At least the main card. I'm not sure if they're going to do that with the whole card. They always separate early prelims to main card and everything, but that's going to be an experimentation process, of course. We covered that here on the Body Lock as well. Go check it out with Pat and myself. So, yeah, I mean, just Matt, what are your thoughts on, that part of this whole equation? Because, I haven't heard from you about it yet.
Oh, being on national television is amazing. It is amazing, especially not just any promotion. When we saw back in the day when it was like, what was it? Elite, what was it?
XC?
Kimbo, yeah. Like when Kimbo that was on NBC, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like a smaller promotion that didn't really, this is the UFC on national television. Like, that's pretty big. So I am excited for that, just to see what that does for, just more conversations happening. Like, what does that do for social media? Things like that. I don't know. I am interested to see the impact that will have starting off, but it is something to be excited about. I mean, how can you not be excited about just turning on, your local television through your antenna and seeing UFC? There's a lot of cord cutters out there, myself included. We don't have a cable subscription, so if I'm not watching something, on through our streaming services that we have, we pull up, the TV, local TV antenna, watch the local news channels, and hey, now I can watch UFC that way. Pretty dope. Pretty dope.
Yeah, man. I agree.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. My words are getting twisted here. But yeah, let us know what you think below. What is your breaking point for pay-per-view? What is the cost that will drive you away from buying pay-per-views anymore? Is it this? Is this increase enough to stop you from buying pay-per-views? If not, let us know what that breaking point is, and we'll see what this does for this Conor McGregor card and see if that doesn't change anything for the future.